What's going on? I recorded a third video in our series on the Amateur Radio Technician series on Amateur Radio Callsigns. Did this on my smartphone and was not successful in getting it uploaded. So we're going to try this again on the laptop and see if I have better results. That's alright, I needed to edit that a little bit anyway and add a little bit of material, so it works just as good. So, call signs, amateur radio call signs. What you're looking at and what to expect. Now, here in the States, we have 10 call districts. Me here in Illinois, I'm in the 9th call district, which covers Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin. You can, again, Google amateur radio call districts. That will give you either the list of what states fall in under what districts, or they'll give you a handy dandy map. I know, for example, the first call district is in the Northeast, Connecticut, Maine, up through there. 2 is New York, and through there, 3 is like Pennsylvania. 4 goes southeast, the Carolinas, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky. 5, you start going a little further west, Mississippi, Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas, New Mexico. 6 is exclusive to California and Hawaii. Where you'll be able to hit the kicker here is for the state of Hawaii. There will be an H in the call sign. KH6, so-and-so, WH6, so-and-so, AH6. That will be the mark of a Hawaiian. Unless it's somebody that got their license in Hawaii and has since moved, say, back to the mainland. That'll fool you every once in a while, so you got to pay attention. But listen for the H. That's a dead giveaway for a Hawaiian, and they are very popular on the amateur band. 7 goes up to the Pacific Northwest, Oregon, Washington, up through there. 7 also covers Alaska, but Alaska, like Hawaii, has its designator with an L in it. KL7, WL7, AL7 will be an Alaskan station. And again, they're very popular. The Alaskans are on the HF. So you'll hear, when you hear an Alaskan or a Hawaiian on the HF band, there's frequently a pileup, meaning that there's a whole lot of people looking to talk to them, if nothing more than to exchange a signal report and say, hey, I just talked to Hawaii, or I just talked to Alaska. It's sort of a good feeling to be able to do that. 8 gives you West Virginia, Ohio, Michigan. 9, like I just said, is Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin. And 10, are 0, just a 0. Gives you right smack in the plains, Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri, Colorado, in through there. And again, you can refer to the list depending upon where you're at as to what number will appear in your call sign when you get it. Now, let me go back in time a little bit and show you how this was set up and then how it's sort of morphed through the years. When I got my novice license in 1986, novices were given what was called a 2x3 call sign. 2 letters, the number of the call district, followed by 3 letters. So when I got my novice, I was given KA9VXA was my amateur call for my novice, 1986. Okay, when I upgraded to technician, if I wanted to change my call sign, I could have. Not a requirement, but if I wanted to, okay. I didn't. I decided not to until I upgraded to extra, that's beside the point. But had I decided to change my call when I upgraded, I would have been given what's called a 1x3 call. One letter, number of the call district, followed by 3 letters. Would have been an N9 so, ABC or whatever. Same thing if I had gone to general, 1x3 calls. Then for the advanced, they get what's called a 2x2. Again, if you wanted to change your call when you made that particular license. KB9AA or something to that effect. And you could have changed it if you wanted to, didn't have to. Then for the extra, again, if you wanted to change your call, you got a 2x1. 2 letters, the number, another letter. WI9X. 2 letters, number of the call district, single letter. Okay. Now, in 1991, the FCC came out with the codeless technician license. So if you had gone in and passed your codeless tech license, you would have been given a 1x3 call sign. The problem there came along that at some point all 10 call districts ran out of 1x3 call signs, and they do not recycle. You can put in for a vanity call sign, but we'll discuss that here in just a little while. So when they ran out of 1x3 call signs, they reverted over to the 2x3 call signs, and there's almost an indefinite supply of them. So really, no fear of them running out, at least for quite a while. Okay, so the technicians then would go on and go up the line. Could have gotten a 2x2 for their advanced if they so choose, or in the case of upgrading to extra, they ran into the same problem as with the 1x3 calls. Eventually, the FCC ran out of them. So what to do? They started pulling 2x2 calls. AA9AA, AA9AB, AA9AC, right on down the line. When the 2x1 call signs ran out. I should add that there are also 1x2 calls. W9AA, W9AA, K9AA, K9AB, N9AA, N9AB. Okay, those are also extra class call signs. However, you will hear some generals, etc., that have a 2x1 call. Sometime in there, they came out with the vanity call sign deal there, where, say for example, you had an uncle or your grandpa, your dad, whatever, was a ham years ago, and that person passed away, and you thought pretty high of that person, and as a tribute to them, you could put in for that call sign. Pay the fee. Oh, okay. You can have that one. I think you had to wait 2 years though after the person had passed, but before you could put in for the call sign. It's not a big deal. We here locally with the local radio club put in for the call sign of one of our members that passed away back in 1992. It was sort of a tribute to him. His name was Carl Sigler. He was a trip. Had quick wit and a very funny sense of humor. We all enjoyed him. So when the club reformed back in 2007, we put in for the club call sign, was given a 2x3 call, and then put in for the vanity call and picked his call sign to use for the club call sign. So there we have on the clubs, or on the call signs. Now, the first letter in all American call signs will start with either an A, a K, an N, or a W. But with the A's, You've got to be careful. That only runs through. You'll hear these in 2x1 call signs. AA0A, AA0B, AA0C, etc. I've never heard them in a 1x2, 1x3. A0AA, A0AB, A0AAA, I've never heard that. Okay. But there's reasoning behind this. Okay. It only goes, in those series, in the 2x1s, it goes AA0 or AA number letter through the end of AL number Zulu. AL0Z, something like that. When you start at the AM prefix, and I've got to look this up, the AM prefix belongs to Spain. AM and AP and Alpha Sugar belongs to Pakistan. AT and AW belongs to India. AX belongs to Australia. AY and AZ prefix belongs to Argentina. Now, with a single A with a number and then a number behind it, you start looking at the DX entities. A2 is Botswana, A3 is Tonga, A4 is Oman, A5 is Bhutan, A6 is the United Arab Emirates, A7 is Qatar, A8 is Liberia, A9 is Bahrain. Okay, so AA number through AL number is the United States. Then the others are what I just read off to you. Then all the K's, N's, and W's are American. Again, KL is Alaska, KH is Hawaii. There was a time years ago when you heard a KG, and it was usually a KG4. That was Guantanamo Bay down in Cuba. Don't hear that as much now as we did years ago. That was more prominent when I was getting into the hobby back in the 80s. We don't hear that much anymore. Okay. So, what about the others? That's when you start getting into the DX entities. The Canadians have the VA, VE, etc. VA3, VE3 is Ontario, and they have call districts in Canada just like we do here in the States. Mexico is largely XE, and I can never remember all the Mexican states. I'm sure it's divided down to all the states in Mexico just like it is here. XE1, XE2, XE3, etc. Oh, excuse me. Now, you start tuning across the HF bands, and you may have to start looking some of this up to figure out where some of these people are at. A lot of this you'll start remembering off the top of your head. JA, JE, JH, JI is Japan. Anything with a B as in Baker prefix is China. DL is Germany. G is England. But now, you've got to pay attention. Let me go back over my list here so I can remember a lot of this, because it starts subdividing real fast. Oh, crud, it's just going to tell me Great Britain. Okay. I know, for example, GW is Wales. GI is, I believe, Northern Ireland. But a single G followed by the number is always England proper. It's when they put in the second letter that you've got to pay attention as to whether it's Northern Ireland, regular Ireland, Wales, etc. So, there you go. I think I've pretty well covered everything on that. yeah, I think we're all good. I think I covered everything there I wanted to. So with that, I will sign this one off and cut me a second one here on some operating practices and see about getting these uploaded. So with that, talk to you all later. Jimbo out.